Anne-Marie Dulege. Anne-Marie, I think you're on mute, but I see that you're there.
I'm sorry. Finally, I can mute. Sorry about that.
Okay,
I'm here.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Julesgaard.
Here.
Shlomo Melmed.
Here.
Christine Miaskowski.
Here.
Joe Panetta.
Here.
Al Rolette.
Here.
Michael Stamos.
Here.
Jonathan Thomas.
Here.
Art Torres.
Here.
Christina Bori.
Here.
Al, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Maria. This meeting has been scheduled to review the mid-year administrative budget request from staff based on the proposed strategic plan that was presented in December. With that, Panay Simpson will do the presentation. And Panay, you might want to tell everyone what your position is with CIRM. I don't know if everyone knows the great work that you're doing. Thank you.
Panay, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I'm Panay Simpson, the Director of Finance, and it's my pleasure to be presenting to you the mid-year 21-22 budget. So I'm going to put the presentation up on the screen and get started with that. So just as an overview to start this presentation, I wanted to show a chart that summarizes where we were at before, what the mid-year budget represents, and what the total would be should you approve the request. So in the first column, we have the categories that we typically, the general categories we report at expenses for administration on. The second column is the column that the ICOC approved, the $21.1 million that was approved in June of 2021. At that point in time, we were working on a strategic plan, and we let the board know that we would be looking at a mid-year revise adjustment. And so the third column represents the adjustment that we're presenting to you today for your approval. And finally, the end result would be a total budget of $23.4 million should you approve it. So in the next few slides, I want to kind of do a summary of where we were at before and where we're going. So in our agenda, I'll review the 21-22 budget just as a recap, and then dive into the details and the major drivers of what we're asking for as part of the mid-year revise. So in July, it's a unique year because in July, we knew that there would be changes coming with a new strategic plan. So the July to December budget had funds in it and new positions to help us with the relaunch after Prop 14 passed, developing a 5-year strategic plan, and filling the 9 vacancies that the ICOC approved. Basically increasing the reviews in the pillars and increasing the scientific advisory and strategic planning activities the first 6 months. As a result of that, we have a proposed strategic plan and an updated request to you. So diving into that updated request, again, you had approved $21.1 million, and we're asking for an increase of $2.3 million in the categories that you see here for the mid-year revise. I want to delve into those variances in detail, especially the major drivers. There were 5 major drivers, 3 increasing our need to come to you for a request, and then 2 decreasing our budget needs. So in the next few slides, I will separate those out and go into them. The largest major driver we have is the employee expenses. Basically, because of the increase in operational demands, the portfolio size, and the new programs, we're requesting an increase of 6 positions, taking our total position number to 55. We're also asking for an increase for patient advocate per diem to be consistent with the Prop 14 requirements. And so that totals $1.4 million, roughly 10% increase from where it was before. The second major driver is increased external services. There's 2 major things driving that. One is that due to COVID, we went paperless. We're all working remotely and using digital forms of documentation, but we still have some paper files that we need to scan for historical purposes for two reasons. One is just to keep the records for legal reasons for records retention. And the second is so that we can have some savings with regards to the office move. So we're not moving files that could be scanned and stored digitally. And then the second driver there is the ADA compliance. We're trying to make sure our website is compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that's roughly a $200,000 contract. In terms of savings in this category, we were able to capture some savings related to developing the strategic plan and our HR consulting. So here we're showing both where we need increases, where we need decreases for a net of $385,000 or 18%. Finally, the third area that we have an increase in is office expenses. You did approve some funds for the move, but we now have some updated costs, which include the software upgrades, the equipment refresh, servers and network for the new location, media room, audiovisual planning, and modifications for the new office. And that is coming to about $720,000. It's a significant increase with regards to what was there before, but in terms of all the activities that we're doing, it's competitively bid and at a cost that's comparable. So then we have two major drivers of decreased costs that we're bringing to you. We have some savings related to travel because some of the meetings that we were planning to have in person were virtual. Some of the trainings we were planning on going to did not take place, and some of the conferences we had planned in person did not take place. So an estimated $57,000 in savings here that we're capturing. And then we're also capturing some savings with regards to reviews, meetings, and workshops. Specifically, one of the clinical program reviews went virtual instead of being in person. We had asked you for funds to have it in person, but it ended up going virtual. And then two of our reviews were postponed to next fiscal year, capturing $154,000 in savings. And so just to point out, there are some risk factors that may impact our ability to kind of forecast what's coming. One of them being the office move, one of them being the personnel growth and recruitment of new staff, and finally the unknowns related to COVID. But having said that, we are staying within our budget and maintaining a close look on our budget to make sure that we don't exceed our approved budget. So with that, I would like to ask for the subcommittee to approve our proposed mid-year budget, and would be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Panay. And I'll ask members of the Finance Subcommittee if they have questions.
I'll move, Al.
Thank you, Steve.
The second, this is Christina.
We have a motion and a second. Are there questions from members of the committee?
I apologize, maybe I missed this, but what is the move date to the new offices?
Pune, you're on mute.
I can respond to that, Pune. So we don't have an exact date. Christina, the current lease expires at the end of March with the current building, which is a lease extension. So we're targeting around that time. The lease is under negotiation for the new space, and we're in the process of figuring out the transition into the new space. So sometime mid-year of 2022.
This
Maria,
is Beth. I'm really hearing a lot of feedback. Could we have some people to mute?
Maria, I have several questions whenever you're ready.
Al, is that okay?
Al, I have several.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to start, first of all, with where we are with the 9 positions that we approved back last summer. We were going to hire 9 new people. We're getting close to the end of the year. How at the fiscal, not of the fiscal year, but of the calendar year. How are we coming with respect to hiring those 9?
So we've been actively recruiting for positions, and even as we speak, there's interviews taking place for some of the positions that were approved in June. Overall, we're very close to filling all of the 9 approved.
Okay, so you expect there's feedback coming from somewhere out there.
I think
so-
you need to mute Pune.
Is it Panay's? Okay. In any event, all right. The second question has to do with the funding for the 6 positions that are being created. So you have a funding amount of $1,016,000. I take it that because we're talking about a half-year budget appropriation, that's for 6 months worth of funds, right? So if you divide 1,016,000 by 6, it's 170,000, and you multiply. So that's for a half a year, or $340,000 for a full year. So that seems like a lot of money, to be quite honest. I'll just put that on the table. So can you explain to me how we got to that kind of number?
So I think a portion of that is some of the classifications that we're hiring are at a higher salary. So that's driving some of it, but we also account for some of the additional benefits that they're getting, and we do have higher paying salaries. So it does come to about $250,000 per employee.
So the salary is 250,000, and then there's what, an additional 90,000 in benefits. Is that how this works?
You're on mute again, Pune.
It varies. So depending on the classification, it's a different salary, obviously. Scientists are in the 200s, and then they have the benefits added to them. The 9 positions that were approved did have a large number of scientist classifications, which are at the higher salary levels.
I'm focused on the 6 that are part of your presentation for additional slots.
Right.
So I don't know what those slots are. You've not identified what role they play. I'm just making the observation that $340,000 per is a lot of money, relatively speaking. So they must be some relatively senior positions, all 6 of them, or is there some other explanation?
They are scientists, which is driving the higher cost. And
All 6.
yes,
Okay.
there's 1 project manager, but the remainders are scientists.
All right.
One of them is the proposed medical affairs policy lead that will be a leader in crafting the strategy for accessibility and affordability along with the accessibility and affordability working group. So that is driving the overall cost. So it's, this estimate is distributed among the FTEs, but that particular position would be expected to be, a very senior recruit.
All right. So what's your anticipated onboarding schedule look like for these 6 positions? So I just asked about the 9, and you said you were close to the end of the road of hiring. So it took basically 6 months to get 9 people hired. What's your expectation of the additional?
I apologize. The 9 positions have mostly been filled. These 6 positions are we're going to start recruiting as soon as the ICOC approves the budget in mid-December, advertising the positions. And based on the last set of recruitments we have some good candidates that we can reach out to for this new set of hires, but we have been able to fill our vacancies.
No, I appreciate that. Maybe you don't budget to this level of detail, but I'm used to seeing budgets, at least in other organizations, where you basically budget according to position over a period of time. So 2 in the first month, 1 in the next month, da, 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 da. But I take it you haven't done that. This is just everybody in at the beginning of January.
That's correct.
All right. Lastly, this is the space that we're going to be moving to, I take it in South San Francisco, if I remember right. Is there room for in-person board meetings at that new facility?
There is.
Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have, Chairman Roulette.
Thanks, Steve. And Maria or Panay, again, could you repeat the titles of the 6 positions that are, and there was one position in particular, if there were 5 scientists and there was one other position, if you could repeat the title for that position again, please.
I will be happy to. Just give me a second to pull that up.
While she's pulling that up, if the committee members have
Yeah.
any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do, Al. So following on Jules's question, I didn't understand the timelines either. If you're only advertising in January, why are we budgeting 6 months of salary?
So typically departments anticipate recruitment in January and ask for funding starting January because it can be a short recruitment period in the event that we have candidates that apply right away and are a good fit. When we have delays in hiring, we capture those savings and we report them at the end of the year. So we always ask for the full amount of what we're going to need should we hire on time and then return the savings at the end of the year.
So you're asking for up to 1.016 then for the personnel. Thank you.
That's correct.
Thanks.
Other questions?
Well, I think just to follow up on Dr. Melvin in the last comment. So to be clear, this money, 1.06, is set aside in a separate bucket from already the money that's been budgeted. And that bucket is allocated exclusively to the new people being hired and doesn't bleed back into the existing headcount, correct?
I see head nodding, so I believe that's, yes, that is correct.
Good.
That was my understanding.
That's correct.
And if
Renee,
you
were
have
you
any-
able to pull up the
Yeah, I'm
personnel?
having
Okay.
difficulties pulling it up, so I apologize. I'm happy to get that to the board after the meeting.
All right, thank you. Were there other questions? Seeing that there are no other questions, I have a motion and a second.
Al, you're
Is
on
there any
mute.
public comment?
There is, let me see. There's no public comment.
Okay, very good. I believe you can then call the roll for the vote.
Yes. Haifa Abdullah, Linda Boxer, Anne Marie Dulege,
Yes.
Stephen Julesgaard,
Yes.
Shlomo Melmed,
Yes.
Christine Miskowski,
Yes.
Joe Panetta,
Yes.
Al Roulette,
Yes.
Michael Stamos,
Yes.
Jonathan Thomas,
Yes.
Art Torres,
Aye.
Christina Bori.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Are there any? Yeah, congratulations, Panay and Maria. Great inauguration, Panay. Good job. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the subcommittee? Is there, and there's no public comment?
No, no public
All
comment.
right. With that, Chairman Thomas, did you have any comments that you'd like to make?
I don't, other than to say excellent, very concise, to the point meeting, Mr. Chairman. Well done.
And that from a Dodger fan.
Had to bring that up again, didn't you?
I did. It makes Stephen laugh and it makes me feel good. With that, JT and everyone, have a wonderful, safe holiday. Be safe. Thank you so much, Panay and staff. Again, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Panay, and Maria Bonville. Thank you as always. I believe that our meeting is officially adjourned.
Excellent.
All right. Take
Everyone,
care.
we'll see you on the 14th. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take good